So for my last article review, I picked an article from a journal, and it is called Elementary Math Teachers' Classroom Performance from the Viewpoints of Elementary School Students. So I thought this sounded really interesting, so that's why I picked it. And this article was about a study done in a small village in Turkey. And what they did was they asked first graders and fifth graders to draw their perception of their math teacher. So what they found, well, the first graders, they can't write well. So what they did on the written part was the researchers actually had conversations with the students about their perceptions of their teachers. While the fifth graders drew their pictures, they also did the written part as well. So what they found was that first graders drew their teachers in an exterior setting. So they were outside most of the time, and their perception was positive. The teachers' emotions in their drawings looked positive, and they also found that it was in a social learning environment most of the time, and that they were all mostly females that they drew. So in the fifth graders were a little different. Most of them drew the teachers in an interior setting. So they were in a regular classroom, and most of the time it was in an academic environment. So they were having a lesson, sort of things like that. And same as the first graders, most of them drew the teachers as females. So the conclusions of this study, they found, is that the creativity on the views of their teachers decreased as they got older, compared to first grade students to fifth grade students. The first graders mainly focused on the teachers' characteristics and, I don't know how to say it, more touchy-feely relationship wise, while the fifth graders, in their written part, they tended to focus on discipline and democracy in the classroom. So you can see how those kind of compare to each other, and what their different viewpoints of their teachers are as they got older. So for my reflection, I want to try to carry some of the things that first graders drew in their picture and talked about along up to the higher students in the upper grades. So what I would do is, since a lot of first graders drew their teachers in an outside setting, I would try to incorporate a lot of outside lessons. This could be when students are learning about area. They can try to find the area of their playground, and they can start measuring perimeter, or just measuring in general different playground equipment, or things like jump ropes, soccer balls, things like that. Another thing first graders focused on was the social learning environment, which was really important for students' growth and development. Just having that time to talk with others about learning concepts. So in my classroom, I want to have a lot of cooperative learning activities, like think, pair, shares, just class discussions, and make students feel comfortable to share their opinions and to learn from others. Since the fifth graders talked a lot about discipline, I want to make sure I'm not so hard on discipline in my class. I don't want to be thought of as the mean teacher. So in my classroom, I want to try to build up my students rather than tear them down, and always focus on their actions and be just too harsh. And then the last thing I want to do is create relationships with my students, because that's what the first graders talked about, was the relationships that their teachers had with them, that they actually cared and wanted them to succeed. So just taking the time to talk to my students the whole day in the classroom doesn't have to be about academic achievements. They can be just talking about what's going on in your life. So to conclude this, I want my students to love math because they know that I do. Or even if I don't, just kind of fake it so they think I'm engaged. That way they'll be engaged and want to learn as well.